probably also matters. Oh, and it was in the context of an incident. Okay, that really matters. So it means do B. You also need to respect permissions and governance. In large orgs, there's just a reality here. There's some stuff that people shouldn't know about, and there's stuff that's public. And making sure that your agent doesn't cross boundaries where it's not supposed to is just really critical. So a context engine handles that for you, following the OAuth scopes and SSO that you would expect. And then finally, okay, you want to deliver the right context to the right agent at the right time. So not only does Unblocked provide that information, for example, to humans in some of our surface layers, like in Slack, Microsoft Teams, directly in web chat, so a human can understand and grok a system and move forward, but it also delivers that via MCP and CLI to agents directly, whether they're running headless, background, or in my terminal session of Ghosty. When you answer an agent, though, you scope it. You compress it so that the tokens that are used are much, much less. And that reduces the search token waste I discussed earlier, and often leads to teams getting massive gains of 50% token cost reduction and increases of up to 80% faster time to deliver a mergeable output, because you're not wasting the rework loops that humans do today to correct or babysit their agents. This is how a context engine works. I'll be quick here because we talked through it a lot, but the short story is on the left, you get all your key pieces of data in from the systems. You inherit the OAuth scopes and models that the team has already handled. So you meet the team where they are. You don't need to ask them to go build a new thing or write a new agent brief or whatever. You just pick it up. The engine then calculates everything, and then it outputs where it is supposed to. So whether that is directly to a coding agent, as I mentioned, with a token scope that's proper, whether it's AI code review happening in remote or local, directly into messaging apps to answer questions, and then across our other MCP, CLI, or API surface areas. But at the bottom, these are the 6 key things you should look for if you go to market and start questioning, okay, what does a context engine look like? Some people call these context layers. I'll dig into those now. So the first is that unified system context. It's not sufficient to, again, just have a bunch of MCPs for that satisfaction of search problem. But additionally, you probably put important information in at least 5 places. So when you have just an agent with MCPs, it can't reason across the 5 places. So with a proper context engine, it has all that data and it reasons about all that data in relation. What I mean is the linear ticket has a link to a PR, so it can open it and see both. That PR might have a link to the customer's message that indicated why there was a problem in Slack. So it opens Slack and it sees it. And you get the point. When you relate all that together, you can actually reason about it and figure out what's right. Targeted retrieval for those situations where often you do have a link, you're like, here's the ticket, we got to do it. It's able to do that quickly at super low latency, retrieve, fully extract the doc, and off you go. Conflict resolution I've described already, but is it A or is it B? How do you resolve that? Personalized relevance, again, who are you? Where do you work? What matters? Where's the team going? What's the intent? Those things need to be answered. The token optimization, again, I already spoke about, but reducing token cost in order to move faster and to make the CFO happy. And then finally, permissions enforcement. You don't want things leaking. You don't need secrets out. And the agent shouldn't cross boundaries that you are not able to access. There are other use cases of a context engine beyond just generating code and code generation. These are things like writing plans, doing ticket enrichment, triage operations and incident response, code review. Sales and success actually love these. Their ability to understand what's happening running in the product in order to answer while they're in field selling or supporting your customers. And in short, Unblock covers all of these for you out of the box. But if you endeavor to build your own, we provide open source tools, which will be linked in the email, and you can take a peek yourself. What's important here as we talk through these levels is you don't need to get to level 8. That's not necessarily the goal. The point is to understand where you are today and then level up. Because as you move up, you will compound the gains of the previous level into a really AI native and frankly AI pilled organization. To find out where your team is, we built a little tool. Please have fun. It's at readiness.getunblocked.com. It's a 5-minute conversation with an LLM who will then understand you, where you are, what your dreams are, and then map you directly to which level you're probably at, and then give you a plan to move forward. I can send you an email if you'd like, or you can open up the blog post and then read it. Right? I say blog post, but it's a very long page. These are the two free things we have for you: that readiness assessment, use it, have fun. And then the other is that entire guide. So if you prefer to just read through it yourself, you can take a peek. I do encourage the readiness though, because it'll help map you faster. The point here is that the gap is no longer intelligence in these models, it's context. So now I'd love to cover any questions that folks may have. And thank you very much. You can find me on LinkedIn or Twitter if you just want to DM me something or send me a message directly, or questions after the fact as you dig into this. Okay, let's see. Sorry, I'm reading this very quickly. Ah, a lot of teams use our product in a bunch of different areas. We're not necessarily moving into like legal. There's a bunch of vertical AIs, but there are legal tech companies like Clio here in town that use us for their engineering orgs, not necessarily to answer legal questions. That's what Clio is really good at. But their team use us to build faster, to get their own questions answered. And we can, of course, navigate around the challenges of like what presents in the uniqueness of those domains, but our purpose is an engineering tool, and we also support the go-to-market teams that tend to surround technical tooling in order to move faster, as I mentioned, like salespeople in market or in the field closing. Uh, you're very welcome. Yes, we will share a deck. I see a question. We have a semi-automated way to keep the context up to date. Oh, I highly recommend going to the post to look at the exact steps. Like you can, there's a go to the web page, you'll see hyperlink on the left-hand side, click on level 4, drop down to tactics and exit criteria. If you remember the gate framework, it's a bit of a joke because LLMs like to say gate a lot. But you'll see the tactics and the exit criteria to move from 4 to 5. Check that out. And then maybe also check 6. That area is a little bit blendable is the short story. You can get a bit of 6 and a bit of 5 in. But really it's about making sure that you connect things appropriately, and you don't want to be wasting those search tokens again. Atenus, I hope I got that right. Oh yeah, Kyo. So in Unblocked, we blend multiple techniques. It's the whole point is semantic search is important for so many reasons, but semantic search can't answer relational queries. Like it can't query a MongoDB, it can't put things together. So while context gets compressed when you do top K, you pull, whatever, that's a great place to start. But you want to give that type of data to an agent that then can use something similar to Cloudflare's coined code mode, but give it the ability to actually write queries fully in code and then query against the key data sets in order to return that information. And then it uses both the semantic result and these queryable results in order to combine them together and make those relational connections. That's how you make sure that that context compression doesn't miss something really critical, especially if you like the easiest one is like you rename a product that blows up semantic like pretty fast, and most companies have done this at certain points. Oh, it's really bad. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's no shortage here. Defect escape rate sucks. You don't want that. Do not want customers to see the bug. The reality is, if you're trying to understand where you're at, and if you're an early org using these tools, the short is I'm a YC founder, an alumni, and some of these early teams, they're shipping very quickly. And unfortunately, their defect escape rate is quite high. It's a really good indicator of maybe you're moving too fast with the AI tools and they are lacking context because you are deploying things that are breaking because you don't have the proper systems in place. So it's a really good way to get that sense. Again, there's a calculation just to do the panic rate if you only want to use Git, instead of like labeling your issues or silly things. But if you get that panic rate and you do get reverts, that will also give you kind of the floor of how much your team might be panicking. Often, I want to be clear, like looking at reverts is not perfectly accurate because most of the time teams do fix forward, as mentioned before. But I agree with you. Defect escape is really bad. So I hope you have zero. Material texture. Yep. You want to make sure that the context engine can consume, you know, all sorts of different data sources. There's lots of multimodal capabilities that exist now in many of the base LLMs. A context engine like ours leverages the right model for the right call. So we actually do a bunch of this. Like some people are starting, like Factory exposes it as a model router to reduce token burn. But we do it for the right technique. So in those scenarios, you'll want to probably figure out, I'm going to call it a mixture of experts, but consider each expert its own model that does something at a certain rate that's better. And if you mix those models, you can basically consume those unique data types and then produce it for the next LLM or another part of your step. So we have determinism and non determinism via LLMs in order to make sure you get the right output. Um, Maybe send me a Twitter message or LinkedIn, and I could try to send you some more direct resources to that very specific question. Oh, yeah, this is fun. You'll get the slides. Those are different research data sources specifically. The 7.76 PR increase is from DX. So DX surveyed over 400 orgs, and they found that their PR throughput did go up 7.76%. The other one is from Meter, METR, RCT. They talked about it was actually they took very experienced developers, they had them use AI tools, and then they self-reported that they felt 20% faster, but on the measurement outcomes they had for what actual output, so productivity looked like, they were moving 19% slower. So while they do look conflicting, these are different data sets with different research methodologies. So please dig into them and take a read. Again, they'll be messaged to you. But yeah, it's just unique to see this in the space as we all ask this question of like, how do you measure this stuff? You can read our blog post, obviously, of course, which goes in the details and has the hard links as well, which will again be emailed to you. Any further questions? I know we're a few minutes over, but I'm happy to hang out. Oh, some people do that. That's a good question, Elena, about spec-driven development. Sometimes specs are checked in to either Git. Sometimes people actually push them up through Git tooling. Others put them in a repo on purpose, or they set them in Confluence, and Confluence is connected to Unblocked or whatever context engine. Um, it can be a good idea. The issue is like a spec for spec driven development. If I think about it, like kind of like a PRD or all these other sort of techniques we use to try to say, like, listen, this is how I want it done. It just looks like this. You don't want an agent to pick it up later when the specs kind of reached its end of life because you've already shipped. So it is important to leverage them when they need to be leveraged and give them the agents and off you go and do the thing. But if you kind of build just a giant repo of these and they're sitting over time, that won't be helpful unless you have an appropriate context engine that's able to, as I mentioned before, reason about them. So it knows if this was like already completed, it can check against Slack and your active PR, your Git tree, or whatever, and know, oh, yeah, that's been shipped. So that's no longer helpful. But just be cautious if you want to put them into a place. They're very helpful again for like multiplayer coding, so your other team can see your handoff. Um, but they can lead you astray if they've sort of, maybe they're 6 months old and the team's moved along at the pace that most engineering orgs are moving today. Oh, that's a great question. I would highly recommend checking out some of these basically like agent harnesses like Vercel's Eve that just got released. There's Flu, FLUW. There's the Hermes agent. Pi agent is like quite famous. A lot of these, while they help you build agents, they also have primitives in them for the harness engineering component. um, that is a great way to like get started fast. If you have a uniqueness you want to build ground up, Cloudflare has a ton of primitives. They're artifacts. Like it's honestly, I'm a Cloudflare maxi. They do great work around those that will help you construct it. What I tend to do for quick things is I actually use Claude Code as my dominant first I like it, and it is the harness that I like. But I use Claude Code in addition with a repo that has a data set that kind of looks like a harness to run over things. But that's for very simple stuff like me helping to write my LinkedIn posts or blog posts because I have agents edit them and I think they suck at writing. So I give them a voice print ID and a bunch of my samples that I've done from 0 to 100 fully handwritten. And that basically is my quote copywriting harness. Depends on what scale you're talking about. But I would check those things out. And pretty soon we'll be releasing a TypeScript SDK that you can plug into those agents like Eve and Flu, et cetera. So you could play around with that to see how context gets inserted. Because you will notice if you go look at them, they don't really have affordance for where the context comes in. They just say connect MCPs. How much of back? Oh yeah, Paul. For sure. Like, look, I think this reminds me a bit of the whole. Here's an easy example. People are probably familiar with Waymos and robo cars. When they get in an accident, everybody kind of freaks out and they go, wow, that autonomous driving car got in an accident. But if you look at the data, it's like something absurd, like 99.999% of rides are accident free. And if you compare it to a human drivers, I think I'm making this up, but it's like something like 88% or something like that. So bad context will show up. Unblocked will get an answer wrong. Your top K analysis and super cool mixture of experts might make a mistake. So when you find bad context, what Unblocked does is it cites all of the files it used. And when you get those citations, you could either go clean up something. If something's like, oh, that document roadmap from 2023, whatever, let's just delete it, that might be an approach. Or other ones are correcting the system with you can prompt it, you can give feedback like a thumb up, thumb down. You take that signal data. So you want to get those signals from the actual humans who are using it and agents to augment how the sort of memory of that system is working. Memories is a domain concept. So there's a bunch of techniques that go into that. But the short story is there will be bad context. Like you will get bad answers. You could build an amazing product here, incredible. Come join our team. We're hiring, whatever. But it will leak through. We're just not there as an industry yet to be perfect, and I think that that's reasonable. We're better than the average human because you can operate across massive data sets. Like Unblocked kind of looks like your best senior engineer and your best expert at 10,000 person companies, and that's just not feasible for a human today. Oh yeah, Claire. If you have more questions, obviously, please just shoot us a note. Get a demo at any time. We're happy to show you. It's getunblocked.com/demo. It is a bit over. I'm sorry, I do have to wrap up as I have some calls with our customers today, but it was a pleasure. If there's anything that you'd like answered, again, I'm at Brandon Walzelnuck on Twitter or LinkedIn. There's only one Brandon Walzelnuck. It's me. Please send us any notes and shoot me an email if you'd like as well. We're here for you. We will send this follow up. You will get all these links, and I hope this has been valuable for you. Thank you very much.